It's seed starting time. And I know it can sound scary to start your plants from seeds, but it's actually incredibly easy and very cost effective. I purchased a variety seed pack that contained the most common plants for each season and hundreds of seeds per variety. And it cost me about $15 and I expect it to last a couple years. So there's a little bit of preparation you need to do before you get to this phase. You really need to lay out the design of your garden and determine how many plants you need and where they will be positioned. And then you'll have the final count of how many plants you need per variety. In the seed planting phase, you're going to plant more seeds than you will actually transplant into your garden. Now, I did try to utilize every plant that sprouted, but trust me, it's not in your best interest. The small and weak plants, no matter how much care and love you give them, will continue to be smaller and weaker throughout the season and will generally produce less fruit or vegetable than your healthier, stronger plants. So what you really want to do is plant more than you need and then thin out the small, weak plants and only plant the healthy, strong plants. You're using a lot of resources throughout the season for your plants, so you really want the best plants that are going to give you the highest yield. So let's talk about the container. You can use a wide pot or a tray, something like this, and just sprinkle your seeds in, and as they start to develop, you'll want to separate them before they become too entangled. Now, I have a bunch of these little pots, and I find it easier to start them all individually, and then I don't have to worry about handling their delicate root systems later on. It takes a little bit more time in the planting phase, but then I skip a step later, and you can buy a whole pack of these for a few bucks on Amazon. I also want to mention the soil. You should definitely start with a seed starting mix. It's a lot lighter and finer than regular potting soil, and I also suggest that you moisten it before putting it in your pots. So I think you get the idea. You want to fill your pot with moist soil and bury your seed about 1/4 inch from the top. Now, the absolute easiest way to make sure your budding plants are happy and well watered is to water from underneath, much like our underground watering system. I use a large shallow tray like this and fill it with water, and then you simply set your containers inside and your soil will stay constantly moist. Now, without this method, because the containers are so small, the soil will dry out rather quickly and you'll be rewatering these several times a day. Watering with the tray means you only need to refill the tray when the water level is low. But do keep an eye on it, especially if you keep it outside like I do, to make sure the water is always clean. You may need to clean it out occasionally. And that's it! Now we just wait for our seeds to sprout, and when our plants develop their first true leaves, we'll transplant them into the garden. Happy gardening!